Hello. So the other night at the Natural Food Pantry, we forgot to record. So I'm recording from my home. I'm back in Vancouver. But thank you for everybody who signed up for the Holistic Weight Management 101 with Natural Food Pantry. I'm back, as I said, in my home in Vancouver, but I really appreciate Natural Food Pantry for having me in the store, giving me the opportunity to speak to you. And I'm really excited to have this conversation today. It's very dear to my heart. So let's get started. Who I am. My name is Ashlie, and I'm the founder and CEO of Aeryon Wellness Nutraceuticals. I'm a holistic nutritionalist, a registered holistic nutritional counselor, eating disorder recovery coach, and CBT practitioner. In 2020 and 2021, I was about a top 100 health and wellness influencer. I have a #1 book on Amazon called Bulimia to Balance. I have 4 cookbooks with my daughter called Fast Paced Mom for different various titles. You have to check those out. And I had a wellness radio segment out here for a number of years in Vancouver. So before we get started, I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Has anybody ever heard of the word diet? I'm sure you have. I'm sure if we had an audience here, you'd be raising your hands. Kind of familiar, heard one, know a friend who's been on one, struggled with it yourself. And I think a lot of us, when we think of dieting, this image comes to mind. This would be me at 11:59 or right before my diet started, or me if I possibly had a cookie and I fell off the wagon in a really extreme way. I think with weight loss and sometimes with health and wellness in general, we tend to be on the wagon or we're off the wagon. And as our friend Charlene here has also experienced, she is really fed up her weight and wanting to take a serious aim at it. So today we're going to be really kind of talking about how do we find more sustainability in weight loss. But before we get started, I'm going to take you back in time to a little bit of my own history and why this subject is really near and dear to me. I started my first diet at the age of 13 years old, actually the age of probably 11, to be honest with you. I was teased relentlessly in school. My parents homeschooled me. And at 13, which is the picture there on the far left, my parents put me into Weight Watchers, really looking to try to get me some tools and strategies to kind of tackle my weight gain that I was experiencing. Now, in hindsight, of course, both my parents, I can't believe they did that. But in that moment, sitting in that room, I realized I was too much and not enough all at the same time. Shortly after that picture, one of my classmates, I went back into school. One of my classmates told me about his sister who struggled with anorexia and bulimia. And in my little teenage mind, I thought that was the winning ticket. And from that point on, for 25 years, I battled with bulimia, anorexia, extreme exercise, and eating disorders, and a lot of self-loathing. The picture there in the center is I discovered fitness competitions in my 20s, and those really became my glorified eating disorders. To be honest with you, I would compete and I'd be really strict during that fitness competition time. And to be honest, that was the only time ever I wasn't binging and purging. And because I was always trying to stop this binging and purging act, I would do show after show after show, 5 to 6 shows a year, which is super hard on our bodies from a cortisol perspective, from a hormonal perspective, sleep perspective, stress perspective. Everything is so hard on your body. The picture there is one of the last shows that I did. That was the Arnold Classic down in Columbus, Ohio. It was a bucket list for me. And the picture on the right is about a month and a half later, right? So you can really understand what I'm talking about here, this on again, off again. So although you might never struggle with eating disorders or done fitness competitions, if we think back, I think we can really think about we're either on the diet or off the diet, right? We're on that wellness regime or we're off that wellness regime. And I had my aha moment about 10 years ago. I was in the bathroom. I'd been triggered again. I'd overeaten and I was going to go purge. And there was a knock at the door and it was my 3-year-old. And as I raised up and I looked in the reflection, I remember coming to, I'd seen this reflection, eyes watering. I had vomit on my hands. Not the prettiest picture to say the least, but looking in the mirror and I just went, if I don't get a grip on this, that little girl on the other side of the door is going to follow in my footsteps. And that really became the catalyst for me to change. And I started looking at working with counselors, cognitive behavioral coaches. I really started looking at my relationship with nutrition and movement. I was a holistic nutritionalist, but I was really good at giving advice, not so good at taking it myself. I got really, as the quote is, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that really propelled me into really looking at what my view of holistic health was. Because up to that point, I'd always thought, the exterior, want to make sure I'm tiny enough. I want to be small. That really determined my health. That was my health and wellness scale. And as I began to really dig into it and look at what I really believed health and wellness was, I wanted to have a more balanced approach, not only for myself, so I wasn't struggling so hard, but also to live as an example to my daughter. And so true holistic health to me is really nutrition and movement. It's rest as well. It's thinking of the thoughts. It's really important. Your emotions behind that, your beliefs, your purpose, what gets you up in the morning, what inspires you to be your best self, all of these different things. And in that, I also began looking at supplementation. And I began to realize in the market, there really wasn't nothing that resonated with me, and that also really spoke the message of true holistic health. And so with my brand, our 5 pillars based on my own personal health and wellness experience are in these order: the thoughts you think, the friends you keep, daily movement, nutrition, and then supplementation. You can hook yourself up to all the ashwagandha, which is an adaptogen for stress in the world, and take as many things as possible. But if we're not really getting the thoughts in our mind correct, really looking at our mindset, we're still going to be stressed, right? So, and looking at that support network, that's so important. That was something I really had to have, a support network to stand with me and encourage me to start living a different life in my relationship to health and wellness and food. So today's points of discussion for weight management 101, holistic weight management 101, is mindset. First one, we're going to tackle hormones, nutrition, movement, supplementation, and bonus tips. So very similar to what I just talked about with my 5 pillars of Aeryon Wellness. So we're going to do some myth busters. And since I don't have an audience to raise their hand, we're just going to go through these. So eating fat makes you fat. Doesn't. All calories are created equal. They are not created equal. Carbs can make you put on weight. Carbs don't make you put on weight. Overabundance of carbs can make you put on weight, right? Fast food is always fattening. It's not. You can find some great food and make some adjustments to food every day if you're stuck in a pinch and need to go to a fast food restaurant. To lose weight, you have to give up your favorite foods. I didn't. I still have my wine when I want it, on the weekends usually. I'll have some popcorn. I'll have bites of stuff here and there. Changing my relationship with restriction was a big part of that. I don't have to lose anything. I can really trust myself to eat when I want and to trust my body as to how much it's going to have. That took me a little bit to get to, though, so we'll talk about that. Physical activity only counts if you do it for long periods of time. No, it doesn't. And it doesn't have to be a gym. We're going to talk about that too. And lifting weights can make you bulk up. Absolutely not. You want to lift weights. Creating more lean muscle tissue speeds up your metabolism. So we need to really, as women, or men, start really looking at doing those weight-bearing exercises. Super important for long-standing health and wellness. So we're going to touch now on thoughts you think. And as I had kind of talked about your mindset, right? Your collection of thoughts and beliefs shape your thought habits. And we are constantly living out what's going in our head. And if you kind of think back through your days, you kind of tend to think about the same things all the time, right? And so one of the biggest things we really need to do with mindset is understand how important that is and how we can catch ourselves when we find ourselves triggering, find ourselves digging into that nasty voice and tail spinning, because it's really going to determine our attitude and our beliefs, right? We got behavior, action, results, performance, and attitude. All of that is surrounding what we're thinking on a day-to-day basis, if we're going to do something or if we're not going to do something, which brings us to cognitive behavioral therapy. So the thoughts we think can affect how we feel and what action we're going to take or non-action. You know, if I'm thinking, nothing ever changes, that even if I work out, I never lose weight. I hate going to the gym. Let's say that I hate going to the gym. Well, my feelings are going to be like, the last place I want to go, if I'm thinking, I hate the gym, I hate the gym, I hate the gym, is the gym. And so what action am I taking? I'm not going to the gym. But if I think, you know what? I never regret a workout. I never regret a workout. This must be hard now, and I know I don't want to go, but I never regret it. And thinking about how you feel after you've done that workout, then your feeling is going to be like, okay, let's get up there. Let's go to the gym. And my action will be, I'm going to go to the gym. So really learning how to catch those thoughts when they show up, right? That's a really, really important part when we're looking at mindset, shifting that mindset. So when we think of a negative thought or story that plays in your mind, I want you to take a second and think of something that plays, those tapes that play in your head. I'm not good enough. I'm big boned. I'll never lose weight. Whatever it is for you in the sense of weight loss capacity. And you can think about this in other areas of your life as well. But thinking of that negative thought or story that just kind of plays in your head, right? One person at the talk that we had the other night said, I don't have any willpower. Well, if that is constantly playing in your head, the idea, the feeling that you're going to feel motivated to do anything when you're thinking you have no willpower to do anything, be it eat clean or go to the gym or eat healthy and go to the gym, it's not happening. Because why? You really believe you have no willpower, right? So it's so important that we learn to shift that. And when we think about what this has blocked us from doing, I mean, the example I gave there was this blocked this person from going to the gym, blocked this person from living a healthier life, from doing things that, outside maybe your comfort zone that you'd want to try. So what is this thought that has been playing in your head, stopped you from doing? And I'd like you to take a second and just kind of think about it. And then what would be that counter thought? And I already gave the counter thought example when thinking about willpower. It's really I have the ability. I don't feel like doing it. I know I don't feel about it, but I have the willpower to do this. And so changing it from I don't to I do. That's a big thing. And it's constantly checking yourself every time you think that. I do have the willpower to do this. Because you look at other areas of your life, you have willpower to get up in the morning, go to work, right? You have a willpower to be with your partner. You have willpower to put your clothes on. Like if you look at all the things, all the actions you take every day that take some will of some sort, you actually do have willpower. You're just saying that about yourself because it's a way of kind of giving yourself permission. And so in that, by really learning to catch yourself on those thoughts and shifting it to something bigger and something greater for yourself, to you to lean into and you to create more purpose in your life, it's really, really important. And one of the reasons it's really important, we're going to tie it into here in a second. Sorry, next slide. But when you change your language, when you change those thoughts, it's going to change your language and vice versa. Catching yourself, if you are somebody who says negative things about yourself, I want you to stop right now. Do not do that anymore. Don't speak negatively about yourself. Those words have power. They determine, as we just talked about, if you're going to take action and how your feelings are. So really watch what you're thinking and what you're saying about yourself. I'm big boned. I was told that since a little girl. My new definition, I am strong. It's in our family genes. No, I control my destiny. Because we do. We all control our destiny every single second of every single day. I'm so fat. I love and appreciate my body exactly where it is. And that is hard sometimes. I've had moments, especially when I was kind of going through my health crisis towards the end, when I started working with counselors and nutritionists. I had this idea of what I thought I should look at. And I really had to lean in to having empathy and kindness to myself, the empathy and kindness that I would so easily give others. But it was so challenging for me to give myself. And it's taken work to do that. It's taken every time I thought a negative thought, I had to counter it and think something different. It's just like working out, right? It's the same thing as growing muscles and going to the gym, really learning to train my brain to think differently. I can't stop eating. I trust my hunger cues. I hate my body. I'm grateful for my health. If I could just lose 10 pounds, I used to think that all the time. The scale does not determine my happiness. I have not owned a scale in years. I am so tired. That's a big one. I'm vibrant and energetic. If you think you're so tired all the time, I guarantee you, you will be tired all the time, right? Create mindfulness in your day with this, right? This is a great way to create mindfulness around what your thoughts are, really watching your thoughts at time, watching when that nasty little boy or girl shows up and says something mean to you and be like, no, thank you, right? Start focusing on the positive. A big thing I do every morning, and this is something you can start doing right now. In this moment, you can do it. You might not be able to eat a really healthy meal right now, whatever, or work out in this moment, but you can definitely do this. You can start shifting and thinking about things you're grateful for. Even there's a lot of crappy things going on in your life. Sorry about that. A lot of crappy things going on in your life. We can always learn to focus on the positive. Every morning when I'm in bed, before I touch my phone, before my feet hit the floor, I lay there, put my hand on my heart, and I'm thank you so much. I was raised in a Christian household, so for me, prayer is the next best thing. So I usually pray. Thank you so much, universe, for all that I have. Thank you that my daughter is healthy. Thank you that I am healthy. Bless the day that I'm going into. And I think about how I want my day to unfold. It doesn't always unfold that way, but I really spend moments being in complete gratitude, and it shifts the day. It shifts the way your life unfolds. It's something you can do right now in this moment. You can pause this and think of all the things in your life that are really, really wonderful. And that in itself, that shifting of your mindset is going to have a direct impact, not only on how you're thinking and how your day unfolds and how you feel about things, but it actually will affect you physically. And we're going to talk about hormones now, because every thought you think releases a brain chemical. When you're focusing on those negative self-depreciating thoughts, it's going to zap your brain of your forcefulness. It's going to slow down your brain. It's going to become dimmer. However, when we think those positive, optimistic, happy, hopeful, joyful thoughts that I was just talking about, It decreases the stress hormone cortisol, which we're going to talk about soon, and produces serotonin, which creates a sense of well-being. So just that simple act alone is going to help you. And having elevated levels of cortisol, if you're constantly stressed, that affects weight loss. Very, very important fact. So one thing you can do right now, change your mental state, change the way you see things, change your mindset. It takes some work, but trust me, the impact on not only yourself, but also those around you is huge. So hormones are your body's chemical messengers, and they travel in your bloodstream through tissues and organs, and they affect every part of us. They are growth and development, stress, sexual health, and metabolism. So we're going to talk a little bit about hormones and which key hormones are responsible for weight loss and also weight management. So the first big one is insulin. I'm sure you've all heard of insulin. It's created in the pancreas, and it controls the amount of glucose in your bloodstream at any given moment. So it helps store glucose in the liver, fat, and muscles, and it regulates your body's metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So it's a very, very important part of our metabolism and also how our body breaks down sugar and utilizes it. Now, insulin resistance occurs when excess glucose or sugar in the blood, so if you're eating lots, it can't be absorbed by the cells. And so then what happens is it's used for, instead of being used for energy, it's stored as fat. So we look at this description here, you're eating food, your body makes insulin, and your cells become resistant to insulin. So they're not using it for energy, right? And it stores as fat. And then you feel tired and feel hungry again. So it becomes this vicious cycle of insulin resistance. So symptoms of insulin resistance are you're hangry, you're kind of always hungry, crashing after meals, and that can show your insulin can be out of balance. So things you can do to help with that and prevent that: eat fewer meals. We've all been taught 6 meals a day. Try 3 meals a day, because those 6 meals, you're spiking your insulin every single time you're eating. Start doing 3 main meals and resist grazing. Have protein with every meal. This is something I'm going to emphasize through all of our talk, through the hormonal, actually most of our talk today, is eat protein with every meal. Most people do not get enough protein in their day-to-day. Really making sure you're having good quality protein with every day. That's going to help stabilize blood sugar so it's not spiking and dropping. Avoid simple carbohydrates, processed foods, fruit juices, fructose corn syrup. Those things spike your insulin level and crash you back down. Keeping your blood sugar stable also by reducing stress. We talked about cortisol, how important that hormone can be. So the thoughts you think, right? Looking at the thoughts you think to help support you with your blood sugar. Who would have thought that? Then resistance training. As I mentioned, working out, working those muscles, it actually is an insulin sparing activity, and getting adequate sleep. That's going to also determine if your stress levels and your stress management, your cortisol levels are lower too, which is going to affect your melatonin, which is your nighttime hormone, sleep hormone. So when you have too much cortisol, your body can't produce enough melatonin. So then your sleep will be interrupted. Super important. We're looking at stress here. So this is another thing too. So supporting your stress and your sleep will also help with insulin and help with blood sugar stabilization. Next, leptin. So leptin is secreted by the fat cells and communicates to your brain if you're full. So you've had a nice big meal, you've eaten a bunch of food, and you're back going, oh, I'm full, right? That's that feeling of fullness. Now, people who are overweight can have up to 4 times more leptins, known as leptin resistance in the body. So this increased fat. So if you are heavier, increased fat is going to increase the amount of leptin. So then you're constantly not feeling full. So a symptom of leptin not working, as I said, is constant hunger. So it's really important that, of course, we get that under control, so then we're not constantly feeling hungry. And some of the solutions for leptin is you're feeling, or one of the ways you know it's working, you feel full. You sit back, whoo, full. Now, insulin resistance. So if your body's not utilizing your sugar, and you're having those up and downs, you're having those crashes, and you're not utilizing your insulin on a regular basis and your sugar, that can lead to insulin resistance, which leads to leptin resistance. So you're never feeling full. So you're having this up and down crashing, and then you're always hungry. So you're eating up and crash. So it creates this really vicious cycle. If you have lots of inflammation in your body, you might not be sensitive to leptin, right? You might not be able to feel full. So really start looking at your diet, your gluten, your soy, your dairy, your sulfites, those things. Really putting yourself on an anti-inflammatory diet. If you're somebody who's never experiencing fullness, really start looking at your inflammation in your body. And again, another key one, same as insulin, getting enough sleep can lower your leptin levels. That's another important thing too. So next we have Gremlins. So Gremlin, I call it Gremlin. It's Gremlin. I can never say the word properly, but I think reason why is because I've always used this slide with this little green guy here. And I just think he looks like a gremlin. So Gremlin is hard for me to say. But nonetheless, it travels through your bloodstream to your brain and tells your body, hey, I'm hungry. That growling, that's this little green guy in your stomach going like, hey, you need to feed me. I'm hungry. Higher levels of granulin, the hungrier you get, right? So if you have more of that in your body, you're going to want to eat more. So how do you combat this? Some of the solutions: exercise, right? So utilizing, really creating more exercise and movement in your day, avoiding sugar so you don't have those spikes as we talked about with insulin. So make sure you read those labels. High fructose corn syrup is a primary culprit. Anytime you see that on a box, do not buy that product. It's not good for you. A simple solution, as I've talked about the other ones: protein with every meal, stabilizing blood sugar, right? Minimizing stress. Again, we have that quality of sleep. So you can see these three things: the protein, the sleep, and the stress, all are kind of funneling through each of these. And then because protein balances blood sugar, insulin, leptin, and ghrelin. So protein is the easiest way to do a nutritional makeover, is having protein with every meal. And we're going to talk about that in the next section. So next we're going to talk about cortisol. So I had mentioned cortisol in the beginning where we're looking at mindset and stress and how, negative thoughts can elevate cortisol levels in your body. And cortisol is really important. If you're getting chased by a bear or your child goes missing in the mall, that's important. Fight or flight gets your body up into gear. However, if you're constantly stressed, and I think we can all resonate with this because we're all kind of a little bit stressed today in today's society, your cortisol levels are always high, which means you can have a lot of these issues with some of these hormones we just spoke about. It can increase blood sugar, weight loss, weight gain, and is actually one of the main reasons women are estrogen dominant and hormonally imbalanced, is because your cortisol levels are jacked up. So when we look at having high levels of cortisol, it creates elevated cortisol, elevates your glucose, so elevates your sugar levels, creates insulin resistance, and then increased inflammation, and it becomes really vicious. Now, in the scope of talking about weight management, some of the signs with cortisol or high elevated levels of cortisol is cortisol belly, really heavier midsection. There's a lot of other, things for cortisol and stress, but we're talking today about weight management, so that's a heavier midsection. So some of the things with cortisol, that slide actually, I lost that slide there, I just realized. So some of the things with cortisol for solutions: managing your stress properly, making sure you're taking time every day, do some stress or some self-supportive activities such as meditation, painting, going to the gym, as actually really helps with that too. But also paying attention, if you are super, super stressed, don't go do a HIIT workout and kill yourself. Go for a walk. Take some stress reducing exercises. Take some breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. Ways to relax. Bring yourself down. Center yourself. Really get present to the moment, because a lot of the time we're stressed. We're thinking about the things that have happened or things that are going to happen, because right now in this moment, we're okay. So really get present. That's another great tool to help with cortisol levels. So next we're going to talk about estrogen. So estrogen is the famous sex hormone in women, or people who menstruate, and it's made from cholesterol within the body, and it regulates menstruation cycle. It affects reproductive tract, urinary tract, heart, blood vessels, bones, pretty well everything, right? Estrogen is a very important hormone for women or those who menstruate. Now, if you have higher levels of estrogen in the body, it can cause weight gain. It also can cause moodiness, painful heavy periods, irregular cycles. There's so many things that can end up happening from estrogen dominance. And some of the causes of estrogen dominance are the food we eat, food that have hormones in it. The water, necessarily, we don't have water as much up here in Canada, but some of the water that you can drink can have higher levels of hormones in it. We have personal care products, looking at the xenoestrogens, looking at all of the chemicals that are in the face makeup you're using, the hair products you're using, the products you're washing your clothes with. One simple choice that we made in our household that you can make right away is when you're replacing your detergents, when you're replacing your dishwasher pods, anything like that, look for something that is chemical free, phthalate free, making sure it's as clean as possible, no scents, all of those things. Those are things you can do right now to make a difference. Gut dysbiosis. One of the ways we're actually able to eliminate excess estrogen in the body is through pooping. And if our gut is a mess and we're not on a regular basis, that means that excess estrogen stays in our body. BPA and other plastics. So we want to make sure we're drinking out of glass water bottles, making sure we're not drinking out of these BPA plastic water bottles. Heavy metals, body fat, as I talked about, higher levels of estrogen. Well, it becomes this vicious cycle. We're going to talk about that in the next slide I'll show you. Hormonal birth control is the #1 reason for estrogen dominance, and chronic stress, as we talked about. Elevated levels of cortisol is going to elevate your estrogen levels. So when we look here, we have estrogen dominance is worsened, and so you have more weight gain. So when it goes higher, you have more weight gain. Then you have estrogen dominance again. You have a midsection, so you get that cortisol belly. You're going to have more estrogen dominance, then it's going to lead to more weight gain. And then the fatty tissue produces more estrogen. So it becomes this real vicious cycle, right? You're estrogen dominant, you're going to get that middle weight, you're going to gain some more weight. Then that fatty tissue that you've gained, it's going to create more estrogen, and that gets worse. So it just keeps becoming this vicious cycle. So top hormonal weight gain imbalances, hormonal imbalances are arm fat, chest fat, belly fat. I talked about cortisol belly, love handles, hips, butt, and thigh, right? Those are some of the symptoms from hormonal imbalance and also hormonal weight gain. So some of the solutions are gut health. I spoke about gut dysbiosis, making sure you're taking care of your gut health with probiotics, fiber-rich foods. It's going to help you be more regular. Making sure you're moving every day. Sweat is another way your body excretes it. Eating cruciferous vegetables such as kale, broccoli, what was the other one I was going to think for? Sorry, kale, broccoli, and cauliflower, all these different cruciferous vegetables, avoiding plastics, water bottles with BPAs, birth control pills and chemicals. And then, of course, stress support, another thing that's kind of common through all these conversations on hormones. So out of this hormone section, some of the takeaways I want you to have today is protein with every meal. You can do that right away. Protein, good quality protein, which we're going to talk about next, every single meal. Avoid simple processed carbohydrates. No high fructose corn syrup. If you can't pronounce something, get something different on the label. Set eating times, have fewer times per day. So you're not having those energetic crashes, right? If that's something you're finding. Managing your stress with meditation, painting, and self-care, looking at how we can control that. Managing your sleep, making sure you're getting a good amount of sleep to keep your melatonin productions up, keep that cortisol levels down. Eating cruciferous vegetables for estrogen detoxification, reducing inflammation with not taking out maybe corn, dairy, or soy. There's an anti-inflammatory diet plan you can probably follow as well that are great. Avoiding plastics, chemicals, and birth control, fiber-rich foods, and take care of your gut, as we talked about. So next, we're going to talk about the foods you eat. So this is the third one on the pillars of Aeryon Wellness. And the quote I really like is, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. Everything starts with also what we're eating, not only what we're thinking, but what are we putting into this body that's going to be able to give us the results that we want, that we're asking for it to do. So I have a quiz, and I know we can't play the game today, so you would have a chance to win, but what are macros? So when you think about it, what are macros? And do you know what macros are? And I love this with Stewie here. You can't look like this without the proper macros, Brian. Love that show. So macros are your protein, fats, and carbs. Those are your main 3 food groups, are your macronutrients. And the benefits of proteins is the first one we're going to tackle. We've talked about this. Stabilizes blood sugar when we're talking about insulin, improves fat burning as well. Your muscle burns more than fat. Stimulates more muscle building, improves memory and cognition, promotes a positive mood. It's important for heart health. It slows down aging and also improves bone density as well. So protein also helps with hormonal balance. We talked about that. As you saw, all those slides, protein hormone balance was all across the board almost. And your protein is made up of, sorry, I got a hiccups here. 1 second, let me just take a sip. Protein is made of chemical building blocks called amino acids. And your body uses those amino acids to build and repair bones and muscles and to make more hormones and enzymes. This creates lean muscle tissue, which increases your metabolism, which is what you want because you want your body being a fueling machine, burning calories for you. So this is how we can figure out how much protein you need to have on a day-to-day basis. You take either 0.8 to 1 per gram per kilogram. I do 1 gram per kilogram. So let's just say I weigh 150 pounds. That works out to 70.3 kilograms. I times that by 0.8, and that's 56 grams. If I was to use it for 1, I'd have roughly 70 grams of protein a day divided into those 3 meals. So you can screenshot this if you like and do that for yourself, or grab your phone and do the calculation. And it also benefit of protein is it supports your immune system and antibodies. They really rely on protein. So after this whole 3 years of talking about COVID, one of the things we really want to talk about is nutrition, giving your body the food it needs to fight when you get ill. And this is one of the ways you can do it, by making sure you're giving your body good quality protein. And some of the sources we can look at here: grass-fed beef and chicken, wild fish, lentils, eggs, chickpeas, spirulina, chlorella, tofu, whey. And there's some great vegan proteins on the market: rice, hemp. There's yellow pea protein isolate, lots of blends. There is a plethora of options nowadays to get good quality protein. So making sure that you have that. Next, healthy fats. Healthy fats are going to balance your hormones, heart health, regulate your body temperature. It helps your body absorb A, D, E, and K. So you want to make sure when you're taking those vitamins, if you are taking them separately as a supplement, they are actually with fat. Vitamin D, there's one with Prairie Naturals that have it with olive oil. That's the one I take, but it has that fat to uptake that vitamin D so your body can absorb it. So it's really important we have fats in our diet. It's good for brain support. We saw the studies recently that they've done with dementia. We want to make sure we're having healthy fats for our brain. Keep it nice and healthy. Boosts your immune system, help with joint support, stabilizes blood sugar, detoxifies the body. And omega-3s, we talked about anti-inflammatory diet, really looking at having anti-inflammatory foods in your life. Omega-3s are a great way to do that, and you can supplement with that too. Then we have carbohydrates. So carbohydrates, and examples of fats, I just realized that slide was missing. So we have avocado, nuts, fish, olive oil. Let's see, what else do we got? Eggs. There's so many good sources of fat that we can include day to day. Coconut oil, all those good ones. Next, carbohydrates. So carbohydrates have been getting a bad rap for the past couple of years with keto. Carbs are one of the things I find anytime you start restricting and taking certain food groups out, you're going to end up crashing. You're going to fall off that wagon, as I talked about before. But carbohydrates are important. They provide energy and fiber and sleep. They help with mood. They improve your digestion, provide vitamins and phytonutrients. So really important we do have carbohydrates, and that we actually don't restrict ourselves from them. And some of the great source of healthy carbohydrates, there's whole fruits. I prefer more apples and blueberries, more the low sugar ones, so I'm not spiking insulin levels. Then we've got fibrous vegetables. You know, you're making a great salad: Brussels sprouts, cucumber, asparagus, cabbage, all these different things. We talked about having more cruciferous vegetables to help with estrogen detoxification. You can eat them. And then starchy vegetables. Now we're going into fall. I tend to make a lot of chilies and stews, squash and sweet potatoes, all those great ones, carrots and beet and taro, some great starchy vegetables that are more fibrous. They're going to slow digestion. They're not going to spike your insulin. They're going to be more of a slow rise. And then looking at grains and legumes. So Ezekiel bread, chickpeas, beans, lentils, oatmeal, quinoa, all these really slow staining, fibrous rich carbohydrates are the things we want to have when it comes to carbohydrates in our diet. And then last, I want to also talk a little bit about fermented foods. I did talk a lot about gut health and how important that is. 80% of our immune system is in our gut. It's known as the second brain. Really important that we take care of that. As I said, gut health can also increase risks of estrogen-related diseases such as PCOS, endometriosis, and even breast cancer. Want to make sure our gut health is really good, because that's one of the ways our body's going to be excreting excess estrogen is through our poop. So if you are gassy, bloated, you're constipated, you need to take care of your gut health. And fermented food is one of the ways you can do that. There's kefir, tempeh, sauerkraut. You can use apple cider vinegar. Digestive enzymes are awesome. I use those at times. You can also use probiotics as well. So looking at really supporting your gut health. So some other nutrition tips, as I mentioned: minimize snacking to support blood sugar regulation. So just have maybe 3 meals a day if you're finding you're someone who's crashing quite a bit. Stay hydrated. There's so many things I can go on about nutrition, but water, water, water. Every morning I get up first thing in the day. I work out right away. I make myself do it every day because otherwise I won't do it at night. And I drink a 1 liter of water right away off the bat, right? Eat in a relaxed state. How many of you have eaten a meal and looked down and been like, what did I just eat? Because we're doing this and we're always on the go. So take 3 belly breaths, take a minute, chew your food slowly. They say, I think it's 21 chews or something along those lines. I don't go that far. Chew your food and taste it. Be really present to the moment. Reduce your sugar. I already mentioned sugar. Reduce it. There's some great sweeteners out there you can use. There's Sweet Monk, there's erythritol, there's stevia, lots of great ones. Reducing your sugar. Be mindful with your food. Am I mad, sad, lonely? Checking that fridge light again. Why am I eating? Right? Looking at why you're eating, really connecting to what your actions are. Limiting your alcohol. So I am a liver of wine, but one of the things it does do, it impacts sleep, metabolism, has a negative impact on gut health that we've been trying to obviously talk about and take care of, and impairs estrogen metabolism. So it impairs how your body is able to excrete excess estrogen in the body. So if you are somebody who wants to have a glass of wine here and there, that is fine. One of the things you can do is look at more of the hard alcohols such as vodka and gin, tequila. I use that, and I'll do it with a big jug of water, and I'll get the little water enhancers, the squirty things, and they have one with stevia, and you can drink it that way. You can get the nude vodkas, but I prefer making my own because I like mine a little sweeter, but that's something you can do as well. So really try to be mindful of how much alcohol you're having, because when you're drinking, your body will break down the alcohol first before it breaks down all the food. And often when we're drinking, our inhibitions are a little bit lower and we'll end up eating more unhealthy food. Like most of us can attribute having some pizza after a night of drinking as well, right? So I'm really looking at these as extra nutrition tips. So next, movement. So movement is going to help create that lean muscle. You want that lean muscle. It's going to keep your metabolism going, helps with bone density, improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and supports weight management. We talked about these in some of the slides on hormones, right? Really looking at movement every day. Now, be mindful of your cortisol regulation. So don't overstress your body. If you're feeling super stressed, maybe don't do a HIIT workout. Go for a walk outside, do some yoga, do some mindful practices instead. But resistance training also is really important to build that lean muscle tissue. It's also going to help in hot flashes, cognitive and brain health as well. And another thing too is walking. Really doesn't get the rap it deserves. Cardio, now zone 2 cardio, which is walking, can improve heart health, aid in blood sugar regulation, support weight management, and reduce stress. Go for a walk every single night. If you can't go to the gym, go for a walk. Start walking, take the stairs, go for a walk at lunch if you're at work. Really get moving your body. So when it comes to exercise, a lot of time people hate going to the gym. So I often ask people, what sports did you play as a child? So as I mentioned just a second ago, go for walks, hikes, there's classes, there's yoga, play with your kids, go play Frisbee, join a challenge. That's a great way to keep yourself on track and to keep yourself accountable to moving every day is join a challenge. You can use bands at home, do family fitness with your kids. My daughter and I used to work out together, do those weight-bearing exercises. And if you find it really hard, if you're in the office all day, take 10 minutes 3 times a day. So whether that be you're standing up and sitting down in your chair 20 times, right? That's going to burn your quads a bit, or you're just reaching your arms up and pulling down and flexing your back muscle like you're a bodybuilder type person. Up again, do that 10 times. That flexing, you'll feel that. You'll do that 3 times, 10 times a day, right? It's real, and it's a great way to kind of wake yourself up, right? Moving your body. Watch your shoulders. If you're on the laptop, really like give it a second. So you can do these things and it's not hard. You just really have to make sure that you want to do it and change your mindset about it. Instead of being like, I hate working out, I get to move my body today. I am grateful. So now we're going to talk about supplementation, and I'm really excited to share with you some of the products that we've created at Aeryon Wellness that I use on a day-to-day routine that have really helped me not only find sustainable health and wellness, but help me with stress and sleep. And so I'm going to share just some of them today. We do have 11 products in total, but I'm going to be sharing, I think I got 4 slides here for you. First one is Water Be Gone. Name is pretty simple. Love this product. Absolutely love it. I used it when I flew to Ottawa. I took it every 2 hours on the plane. It helps with water retention. I take it if I have a salty meal on the weekends because I tend to be sodium, I can retain water very easily. And I also take it if I'm just feeling bloated. I take it and it works wonders. So it's a diuretic support, also UTI support. If you're somebody getting UTIs, this is an awesome product for you. We have that claim on there. Reduces bloating, water retention, and hormonal support as well. In this product, we have dandelion. Dandelion acts as a diuretic and also reduces water retention. We have a clinical dose of juniper berry, and that speeds UTI healing. So you can take this product, it helps with UTI support. Milk thistle to support the liver, so we're flushing out that excess water. Fucus vesiculosis, try to say that 5 times. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll see our blooper reel we did on this one. But that one's known as kelpware. So that one helps support thyroid health as well and helps with weight loss, digestion, and constipation support. We have B6 to help with water retention, black cohosh to help with PMS and menopausal symptoms, and magnesium to prevent any cramping. And I will say guys can easily take this product too. They're using black cohosh for prostate cancer research. Fantastic product. You can take 1 a day, you can take 2 a day, max 3 a day. I tend to take it on weekends, as I said, when I fly, and it is always on my counter. One of my favorite products. Next, we have Lose It, is our metabolism support product. It's our metabolism and actually workout support product. So it's these two combined together. I use it before I go to the gym. I feel fantastic. I have the best workouts. My mom, who's 73, uses it before she plays pickleball. So it really has a variety of uses. It's an exercise enhancer. It helps with hormones, and there is no crash or come down on this product. So in here, we have Indo-3-carbinol that's going to help with estrogen metabolism. We talked a lot about having excess estrogen in the system, how that can really have an impact on your hormonal levels and have an impact on weight loss. So this has, it helps with estrogen-dependent cancers, and it's made from cruciferous vegetables. That's that Indo-3-carbinol, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. So really high dosage to help really flush out any excess estrogen metabolism, as an excess estrogen, and help detoxify. We have red pepper extract that acts as an anti-appetite suppressant, also heats up the thermogenesis in the body, so you're burning more calories. Caffeine to help stimulate, give you some energies, about a cup of coffee in there. Green coffee bean, we've all heard about green coffee bean back in the day. It helps lower blood pressure and support weight loss. L-carnitine to help with muscle recovery and boost metabolism. Olive leaf to help support weight loss and improve reduce appetite. And then B12 to boost the metabolism. And I will say on this, this is not a magic pill. All of the stuff that I've been talking about today, the reason I put this in the order I did is because supplementation, you need to put the other things in play. You might notice a bit of weight loss, but if you really start changing the way you're thinking and having the conversations, catching that mindset, you start moving your body in new ways, you start eating better, then you're really going to have some profound results on this product. I had a lady who reached out to me about a year ago, and she wanted to take the product. She wanted to lose quite a bit of weight. And I said, why don't I send you the QR code, which I'm going to be talking about in a minute, and you can have the meal plans and the workouts and see how that works for you. And she came back to me and said, no, I really want to buy the product because then I have no excuse. I have to do it because I've bought the product. And so far she has lost 35 pounds. Now, I will say in that it's not just because she's taking Lose It. It's because she's really made some lifestyle changes. And this is what this product is really about, supporting you to create new lifestyle changes. Next, I'm going to talk about Reclaim, because we did talk a lot about estrogen and how that can imbalance the system and attribute to weight gain. So this is going to support cycle regularity, breast tenderness, mood support, reduce your cravings, support estrogen detoxification and hormone balance, supports liver health, and also support libido and immune health. In here, we have calcium to glucarate. That assists in stage 2 liver detoxification. So assists your liver to detoxify excess estrogen. We talked about having excess estrogen in the system. This is going to help with that. We have green tea extract in here that acts as a blood sugar stabilization, right? So you're not bouncing all over the place with blood sugar. Broccoli sulforaphane, which is an antioxidant, antimicrobial, is part of that cruciferous vegetables that we were talking about. So we have that in there. DIM helps balance the good to bad estrogen, helps with uterine, colorectal, and breast cancer as well. So looking at how we get those estrogen levels a little lower, so you're not you don't have estrogen dominance, right? Looking how we balance that out. Vitamin B6 for mood, PMS, and metabolism. We have St. John's wort in this product too. So you really feel it mood-wise. It's great for depression, low mood, and helps with menopause. Fantastic with menopause. We have chaste tree. Chaste tree helps increasing luteinizing hormone and progesterone. So that's going to get your cycles back on track if you find your cycles are off. We have white yam that helps with vaginal dryness, low libido, and osteoporosis. Helps with DHEA and testosterone. So really supporting libido. Astragalus, which is an adaptogen, helps with immune health, and then zinc as well that helps with sex health and also immune health too. I take one of those a day. It's my favorite child, if I have one, is Reclaim. Then we have Restore, our stress support product. We talked about cortisol, the negative impact that can have on you. This product supports adrenal health, stress resilience, so really helps you deal with stress, boosts cognition, energy, and focus, enhances your mood, and actually helps with hormonal harmony as well by bringing those cortisol levels down. We talked about how important that is for overall hormonal harmony. In here, we have Chinese hawthorn. Hawthorn's really well known for heart support. And we know that women, number one cause killer of women is heart disease. So looking how we can support heart health. We have KSM 66 ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen. However, the KSM is a brand name. We use the root, and that has the highest amount of bioavailability to give you These called withamithols, 5% withamithols. So you really want the root, and KSM is the one we use from them. If you go on their website, you will see Restore there. We use Bacopa to help the cognitive benefits. Anybody going into menopause with brain fog, anything like that, this product is for you. Bacopa is phenomenal to memory and help with that. Then we've got astragalus in there to help again with immune health, immune support. I talked about that, but also helps as a neurochemical, helps with neurochemical impairment that can cause by stress. We have Shishandra to help turn down the overproduction of cortisol and boost energy and stamina, and B5, which is known as the anti-stress vitamin. And that is a one a day. You take it between 1 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And lastly, we have Snooze. So Snooze is our nighttime sleep support product. It is melatonin free. It's adrenal support, stress support, promotes relaxation, really quiets the mind. You can take this at 3 in the morning if you wake up with no sleep hangover. So there's no melatonin in this product. Again, we have Chinese hawthorn for heart support. I spoke about that. We have valerian. It really calms you down and inhibits the breakdown of GABA in the brain. We have L-theanine that's going to help reduce stress and cortisol. So as I mentioned before, having high levels of cortisol is actually going to affect your body to create more melatonin, and you need melatonin to go to sleep. So looking at stress is a really important factor. You can actually take Restore and Snooze day and night, right? So to support you in both ways. We have passion flower to help with anxiety and to get you in that nice sleep. And also passion flower and valerian are known, the studies have shown with night sweats. We've had great results from women getting back to us on that. We have GABA. GABA is going to help with healthy hormone production, get you in that rested, relaxed state. And then magnesium glycinate. And that helps regulate your melatonin levels and interacts with GABA, and also really helps you get that good night's sleep. So Snooze, no melatonin. You can take 1 to 2. 2 if you really need to have a good sleep and you can't sleep that well. I keep it beside my bed. If I wake up at 3 a.m., roll over, have one, go back to sleep. So Snooze is definitely something in my side drawer as well I use when I need to. So some of the takeaway lessons from today I'm going to leave you with is be mindful of your thoughts. Really take the time to really connect with what you're thinking and how important that is on your health and wellness. Pay attention to stress and hormonal imbalances. If you find you're exhausted after every meal, you got the cortisol belly, your periods are off, really start taking a look at stress for one, start looking at hormonal imbalance, start looking at your food, because we know that all plays a huge role in how your body is responding. Having movement every day, 30 minutes minimum, whatever that choice is for you. Drink your water, reduce your sugar so your insulin levels aren't spiking. Be mindful when you're eating, and be mindful just in general that you're here right now. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the present. Be present. If you're really finding yourself in a stressful state, bring those stress levels down. Supplement when needed. We have some fantastic supplements at Aeryon Wellness. And so I welcome you to take a look at the whole lineup, and be kind to yourself. Everything doesn't happen overnight. I think sometimes we expect things. Be the person, be the friend to yourself that you would be to somebody else, right? I think that's a really important thing to live by. Use a plan to kickstart. Sometimes you need a plan to kickstart things. We're going to talk about that in a second. And what do you want your story to be? You know, I knew back in the day there when I went through my health crisis and I had Michaela almost knocking at the door, I knew I wanted to be something different. I knew I wanted to create a different life for myself. And the beauty about waking up every single day, or if you get that opportunity to wake up tomorrow morning and you get the opportunity to be who you are, is every moment of every day, you have that opportunity to choose what you want your story to be every day. And so the choice is, what are you going to do? All of the stuff here today that I talked about, I hope I gave you a bunch of really great information. I hope, and my hope for you is that you could take some of this information and create some lifelong habits that are going to create the healthy sustainability that I now feel in my life that I never thought I would have. I never thought I'd be able to not be on a diet. I never thought I'd be able to just have a bite of food and not go into a total binge. And I'm telling you, it can be, but I had to make that conscious decision, and I had to do some work to get to that point. But my God, is it ever worth it? So one of the things I'm going to talk about, Aeryon Wellness, that I really want to bring your attention to, we do have 11 products on the market right now. We have a 12th one for intestinal support coming out in the next month. Every single product has a QR code on the front. That QR code leads you to a 30 to 60 second video where I'm explaining the whole product. Every single product has 2 free meal plans. Every single product has information and tons of stuff in there. I was actually on Dragon's Den back in December. I had the opportunity, and I had 3 offers. You have to watch it. So go check out Aeryon Wellness and Dragon's Den. but we got on the show based on our QR code technology. Last but not least, a portion of every bottle sold is donated to the Downtown Eastside Women's Shelter in Vancouver. Really important factor in the business. We want to support women in need. So know that some of your purchase contribution is actually donated to the Downtown Eastside Women's Shelter. And stay connected with us. Jump on our newsletter. We have webinars every single month on products, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can reach out and follow me personally at Arabella Ashlie. If you ever have questions, please reach out. We're here to support you. I know there is a discount with Natural Food Pantry for all the products today. So make sure you go take a look. And thank you so much for attending today. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I really do appreciate your time with me.